Hyperinflation is here. Panic alerts: crude oil used in your gasoline, plastics, and chemical items has increased by 79% in the previous several months. Copper, which is used in plumbing and electronics, has increased by 87%. The iron used to manufacture steel, the most widely used metal on the planet, has a 128% iron content. The price of a used automobile increased by 9% in April 2021 alone, with lumbar claiming the top spot with a 266% increase in the previous year. So all these point toward one big question: is hyperinflation here? If so, why? Well, in this video we will discuss hyperinflation in detail, its history, and if it is here. Hello everyone, welcome to Country Economies Explained, a media channel that allows you to find out the reasons behind the economic situations of countries. Make sure to like and subscribe. Also press the bell icon to never miss an update from us. That being said, let's begin. We have been watching the surge in real estate stocks and the recent crypto crisis for quite some time. In the year 2020, 40% of US dollars got printed. There has been a lot of discussion about whether all of this new money would produce inflation. So you believe that's how all this money printing will end up? It will eventually affect consumer costs. We are finally organizing the fields now. Expenses are mounting up at the shop. The cost of certain goods has increased. Others have doubled their earnings. The rising cost of timber has increased the cost of a new home by an average of $36,000. Coca-Cola has declared that they will raise their prices as the cost of everything they need to create their goods rises. Other large consumer firms, such as P&G and General Mills, have announced similar price rises since they can't collect what makes up inexpensive toilet paper and personal care items. In other words, welcome to hyperinflation. Take a look at housing costs. Take a look at Bitcoin, for example. Everything is getting bigger and bigger. Is this inflation going to be a long-term trend, or are we witnessing the start of something even more dangerous? The folks with the fewest talents are the ones who suffer the most at times like this. Imagine you are laying people off because salaries are rising. It's a lot simpler to dismiss a fast food worker than to fire the machine learning specialist who designs your social media algorithms. The trouble is that gaining these talents that make you feel uneasy is difficult. In April 2020, the printing presses kicked into high gear, increasing the amount of money in circulation from $5 trillion to $16 trillion in a month. With it came layoffs and a large increase in unemployment. It was the amusement of the $1,200 that was put to the test against the other banknotes that got distributed. However, rather than spending the freshly minted money straight away, Americans are saving it or investing it in stocks or cryptocurrency, resulting in record savings rates. It leads to the point where the global economy is reopening. We are dealing with the supply side of the equation. On the supply side, you had a hampered supply chain with lower output, which, as planned, readily reopened at 110% capacity. More money is getting spent on fewer items than ever before. Or to put it another way, we have created the ideal storm for inflation. All you can do is bid up rates for us. The government is artificially increasing demand with its massive money printing program. People now have a lot more money to spend on things they want. People, on the other hand, are not going into the economy and generating goods. As a result, we have a massive money supply. However, there are no things available for customers to purchase. As a result, your only option is to bid on pricing. On the one thing, the government encourages individuals not to make goods. On the other hand, they are printing money to give to individuals who used to work in productive jobs but are now sitting at home waiting to get the money that the Fed just produced. The folks in charge of the Federal Reserve and the World Bank all agree that current inflation is only a blip on the radar. It's referred to as transitory in technical terms. There are shortages in the supply chain, but everything will be back to normal once the kinks get ironed out. True, inflation will skyrocket once it happens, but that isn't the full issue. Because the only thing that gives the funds in our pockets worth is our belief that they have value. We think that if I were to cash my paycheck today, I could purchase food and a sports car tomorrow because we believe that we must continue to work to keep the economy moving. But everything falls apart the instant faith gets destroyed. As a result, organizations like the Federal Reserve have an incentive to maintain the status quo to prevent people from fearing that inflation may spiral out of control. Remember, these are the same folks who assured you that the 2008 financial catastrophe would pass you by. These were the same folks who said that they were here to stabilize the economy, although the dollar had lost 96% of its value, if not more, since they began their work in 1913. So this inflation phenomenon may not be so temporary or transitory after all. Even if the price increase is temporary, it does not imply that prices will fall. When the quantity of money in circulation gets increased by 40%, it is likely to move into equities and crypto real estate, driving up prices. However, that extra money will ultimately trickle back into ordinary consumer products that you and I purchase, raising costs. Because we don't acquire stocks or cryptocurrency merely to have them. We acquire it in the hopes that its value will rise, allowing us to sell it and use the proceeds to purchase genuine commodities that we will use later, such as petrol, food, and everything else that is now increasing in price. As a result, there are fewer goods and services to buy, but more people seeking to acquire them with more money. As a result, costs skyrocket. And if salaries remain at these higher levels, businesses will have to find a way to recoup their costs, which will most likely be by raising prices. So once the supply chain has ironed out the kinks and is back up to capacity, unless we can magically unfriend 40% of the US dollars in circulation, the truly inflated commodities, like lumber, will most likely come down in price. Although these higher prices are likely to continue. It's a bit difficult to predict if inflation will continue to worsen. But, in my opinion, a lot relies on how confident you are that the government will slow down the printing process. They've slowed down just a tad. However, they are still printing far quicker than they were before COVID. After all, what do you expect when you let the genie out of the bottle? At the end of the day, this is a fantastic example of how the government uses money printing as a smart way to tax us. The government desired to support social programs, stimulus payments, and bailouts. However, to pay for whatever they want to undertake, they often have to increase taxes, which is political death. Then on tax day, they gather that money from us and finance it. As a result, we have a social program, but we can buy less because we have less money in our bank accounts as a result of paying higher taxes. They can pay our stimulus checks by raising taxes on us today, since the stimulus checks were meant to go to us. Instead, they printed money to finance the stimulus payments. We ended up with the same findings. We obtained a new social program and stimulus checks, and we were able to find fewer items as a result. The only difference is that we can purchase fewer items because our money is worth less, not because we have less money in our pockets. So let's suppose you're paying 20% in income taxes this year, and whatever the total inflation rate for the year is, let's say 4.2% for the townie surrounding. This indicates that the value of your money will decrease by 4.2% this year. The effective tax rate you'll be paying in 2021 is 24.2%, not simply 20%. If the inflation rate is closer to 6%, you will have to pay a 26% income tax, with a 10% inflation rate. You'll be paying roughly a third of your earnings. Different parts lead to the same result. The difference is that the conclusion is less clear. So how can you protect yourself from this inflation? Fears of inflation are unique in that they impact people differently. One of the great defenses to being worried about inflation is not having a lot of stupid desires in your life. Warren Buffett's business colleague, Charlie Munger, said in 2004, "This is an excellent opportunity to reconsider what you truly require versus what you merely desire." Many of us are feeling the effects of inflation, especially those who don't own a business or aren't nearing retirement. This is an excellent opportunity to create a budget and discover areas where you may be overpaying. Start saving for an emergency fund that will cover 2 years of your operational expenditures if a COVID-like crisis occurs again. The idea is to develop a buffer in your life so that no matter what occurs, you don't end up spending all of your money each month. So what do you think of this situation? What is your plan to save yourself? Tell us in the comment section. I hope you all enjoyed today's video. If you're new here and want more videos like this one, make sure you subscribe and turn on the notification bell. That's going to wrap it up, and thank you very much for watching. In the next one, I'll see you all again. Until then, peace.